Matt Peiken here with the Wake Up Podcast, and I have a confession to make. I don't live in your city. I produce this newscast from all the credible sources of journalism and the reporters who make up your local media landscape. I try to get the names of people and places right, but once in a while I'll mispronounce something. So I want you to set me straight so I don't repeat the mistake. If you hear anything amiss or just want to send feedback on the show, email me at editor@wakeupthenews.org. All right, on with the news. Wake up, Jacksonville. I'm Matt Peiken. Thanks so much for tuning into your local newscast for Wednesday, March 4th. Sporting Club Jacksonville says it plans to build a 15,000-seat soccer stadium near the St. John's Town Center as part of a 150-acre mixed-use development across I-295 from the University of North Florida. The club hopes to begin playing there by 2028. Leaders say the project will include retail, restaurants, hotels, and residences, creating what majority owner Ricky Kaplan calls, quote, a true urban sporting district. The privately funded development won't seek public money. The stadium could host professional, high school, and youth events year-round. Read more about this in the Jacksonville Daily Record. Gateway Jacks has unveiled the first residential building in its planned Pearl Square development in the city's North Core. The project at 515 North Pearl Street is called Vanderveer and will include 205 apartments above ground-level retail, including a Japanese restaurant. The Jacksonville firm is redeveloping 9 city blocks into a mix of housing, shops, offices, parks, and public space, with plans for 1,250 residential units overall. CEO Brian Mall says Vanderveer, quote, sets the tone for the vibrant, walkable neighborhood we are building. The complex is expected to open by year's end. Read more about this at Jacksonville Today. Jacksonville's port is doubling down on long-term investment as global trade remains uncertain. During his annual State of the Port address, Jacksonville Port Authority CEO Eric Green highlighted a $250 million modernization at Blount Island, including upgraded container facilities and a new vehicle processing center. The port is also raising its air draft clearance to 205 feet, allowing larger ships into its 47-foot deep harbor by year's end. Last year, Jacksport moved nearly 1.5 million containers and more than 500,000 vehicles, supporting more than 258,000 jobs and $44 billion in economic impact. Read more about this in the Jacksonville Business Journal. Jacksonville's 5 Points Business Improvement District is one city council vote away from seating its first board. The council rules committee has unanimously approved 3 members and 2 alternates. Andre Green, Cheryl Croft, and Dory Thompson would serve as board members. Alonzo Walton and Ashley Kendrick are nominated as alternates. The board can levy property assessments and hire staff. The district covers about 100 properties in 5 Points. Councilmember Jimmy Peluso introduced the legislation after businesses raised concerns about crime and upkeep. A full council vote is set for next Tuesday. Read more about this in the Daily Record. And 2 Jacksonville musicians are facing a long recovery after a deadly chain reaction crash Sunday on Atlantic Boulevard near Empire Point. Police say a teen driver traveling west crossed a concrete median into oncoming traffic, hitting at least one vehicle and setting off a multi-car collision. 3 people in one SUV were killed. Musicians Owen Poe Beasy Headley and Willie Green were in another SUV and were critically hurt. Headley has undergone 2 surgeries, and Green is being treated in a burn unit. A GoFundMe has been set up to support the musicians. The crash remains under investigation. Read more about this at News 4 Jacksonville. Our free newsletter is a quick local news digest, essentially this newscast in written form. Subscribe at wakeupjacks.transistor.fm. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram at wakeupjacksfl. And please share this podcast with your friends who care about this city. I'm Matt Peiken. Thanks so much for starting your weekdays with Wake Up Jacksonville.